Okay, today we're going to work with classic puzzles. The goal in class is I'm going to show you how we set up story problems or like puzzles. These puzzles are kind of trick questions that they had asked you or real life scenarios. The goal is in class, I show you how to set them up. Now, you can shut the door if you want. We are working right now in Algebra 1A on systems of linear equations, right? Solving when we have x and y, two unknown variables. So today, keep that in mind. We do things in order for a reason. Everything's supposed to be spiraling. So today, when we work to solve our problems, we're going to kind of set them up just like we have with systems of linear equations. Almost all your problems will have two equations, and then you have to solve for them. Let's look at our warm-up. It says, Nick has a coin collection containing 250 total dimes and quarters. Okay, that's my first thing I should know. The collection's worth $39.25. Find how many dimes, X, and how many quarters, Y, are in the bank. So doing this with me, I'm going to show you exactly how I set these up to make them a little tricky, a little time consuming, but easily solvable. Now because they told me that dimes are X, I'm going to just put that there and quarters are Y. If you want, I always go over to the side and I make myself a little key just to make sure I don't mess up. So I'm going to say, okay, the X is going to represent dimes, the Y is going to represent quarters. The first thing I'm going to look for is anything I know that's a fact. Well, I know I have 250 coins. So when I emptied out the jar, I had 250 coins, and they're made up of dimes and quarters. My first equation that I could write is my dimes plus my quarters, if I'm just counting them, equals 250. Now, when I know that, can I solve for how many dimes or quarters I have yet? No. I mean, I could have 200 quarters and 50 dimes. I could have 250, or I could have 249 dimes in one quarter. All we know is when we count them, we have this. But the collection is worth $39.25. Here's the one thing I'm going to do a little bit different though. A dime is worth how much? 10 cents, right? 0.10. A quarter is worth 25. Now, if you do not want to work with decimals, that is okay. It said that my total was 39.25. If I do not want to work with decimals, I can take everything times 10, but that has to be equal across the board. So if I take this times 100, I'm sorry, I think I said 10, times 100, it'd be 1, 2, this would equal a dime. I'm going to say it's just 10 cents. Instead of 0.1, that's compared to $1, I'm going to say 10 cents. A quarter would equal 25 cents. But then if I have $39.25, how many cents is that?
3,925.
So that means I had to also move the decimal over on my total. Since I'm talking just cents, I'm not talking about in dollars or anything, I'm going to move everything over. Now my second equation can be a dime's worth 10 cents. So 10 times x, because if I have one dime, 1 times 10 cents, I have 10 cents. So I'm going to say my cents times how many dimes I have. And I'm going to say 25 times my y, because it's 25 cents. And it has to equal 3,925. We have now set this up so it is two equations. Can we solve this? Yeah, we have 3 ways of solving this, and it's up to you how we do it. Do you want us to graph this? If I graph it, I have to solve for y. The first one would be easy. Second one's, ooh, it's going to be fractions. Maybe substitution. So if I substitute, I can do that. If we did elimination, coefficients are 1, coefficients are 10 and 25. Oh, so I'd have to time these by 10. That's going to give me big numbers. I would personally probably use substitution. So, to do substitution, I'm going to choose one of my 2 equations to solve for just one variable. Probably going to use my top one because there's only one coefficient. We do this by x plus y equals 250. And I'm just going to minus y on both sides. We'd end up with 250 minus y. What do I do with that now? What is my purpose of having this now? Evelyn?
You can now put that into the x.
Yeah. So because x is 250 minus y, when I go to this equation, instead of saying x, I'm going to say 250. So I'm going to say 10 times 250 minus y plus 25y equals 3,925. And we go ahead and solve because we only have one variable. 10 times 250 is 2,500. Negative y times 10 is minus 10y plus 25y equals 3,925. We look for like terms. Negative 10y and 25y. I would have positive 15y. I'm going to minus 2,500 from both sides. And have 15y equals 5241. And I'm going to use a calculator. 1,425 divided by 15 is 95. Okay, so I have 95 is y. Well, what does y stand for? Quarters. But I'm going to take my 95. I'm going to say y equals 95. And I'm going to put 95 back into my first equation. X plus y was 95, is 250. Subtract 95 from both sides. X equals 250 minus 95, 155. Making sure that I'm adding this in my head real quick. Okay. So we get it done. We now are going to check what do we have. It asks how many dimes. Well, we have 90. Not going to say that. X is dimes. So we have 155 dimes. And we have 95 quarters. Now, I'm not going to lie to you on this. This is going to take some time. That equation, that one-story problem, took me some time, correct?
Yes.
Took a lot of work. That's what we call perseverance. We don't just give up and say, okay. Like, as I was going, I was like, oh my gosh. Even me, when I was doing this, like, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of writing. but we persevere through it. So we have to do all the work to get to our answer. There?
Would a possible way to check your answer would be to put together how much money is 155 dimes and 95 quarters, and then put the two together? Could that work to check your answer?
Absolutely, and that's how we would check our answer. If we wanted to check, I see if does this work. Well, first, 250. Well, 155 plus 95 is 250, so I have the right amount. Then if I did 155 times 10 cents, 1,550, and I could do 95 times 25 cents, is that, plus my 1550, you get 3,925 cents. That's what we were looking for.
So you can check it that way.
We can always check it by putting our numbers back in. Alright, so we are going to try this together. I'm going to do a little bit of it, but I'm going to have you kind of solving. To be honest, you have three methods of to doing all these. Graphing, substitution, or elimination. Which one do you think you're probably not going to use? Probably not going to use graphing very much. Typically, we don't use graphing as much, but we have to know it. That's why on your quiz, I have to see that you went to y equals to the slope form. Sierra, make sure you are on our math with us. So we have to see that you're doing your graphing. We're checking that you can do all three methods. Typically, I use substitution more than anything, but we could use substitution or elimination. Those are the most common. Okay, we're going to start this one for you. Let's see if you guys can come up with it, though. It says Tommy has 4 times as many quarters as dimes. First thing I'm going to do is quarters and dimes. I'm going to say quarters are X. I'm going to say dimes are Y. Which, for me to be safe, I go over here. I make sure I know what my labels were. That's quarters. Y was dimes. Now, I'm not even going to go to anything else yet. I'm going to look at this first part. Can anyone tell me the equation I could write to represent this? How can I represent 4 times as many quarters as dimes? Jackson?
4x equals y.
No, backwards.
Why is that backwards? Why if I say 4x equals d, oops.
Well, that'd be because then it would be saying 4 times.
It's a little tricky, right?
No, it's backwards. Because now it's saying it's not saying that there's 4 times as many dimes as quarters.
Okay, you're correct. We do want to say it's when we say 4 times as many quarters, we just want to say, hey, let's take quarters times 4. Okay, well, that'd be okay. But if I say quarters and dimes, I mean 1 quarter is going to have to take as many as 4 times as many dimes. I have to take more dimes in here. So Tommy has 4 times as many quarters as dimes. My X is going to be 4 times as many dimes. And the reason is because we're saying equals. That's the big thing. Because of the equal sign, the two sides are balanced. If I said 4 times my quarters, if I was just comparing, well, that'd be okay. But when we use an equal sign, they have to stay balanced. So for the number of quarters, means I'd have to have 4 times as many dimes. So we would write it this way first. X equals 4y. If he had $7.70 total, well, we're going to do exactly like we did before. I'm going to say my dime, which is 0.1, is going to equal 10. My quarter, which is 0.25, is going to equal 25. And so 7.70 I'm going to say equals 770. Based off that, what would be our second equation that we would want to solve? What could be our second equation that we have to solve? Caitlin?
It would be 10y plus 25x equals 770.
Perfect. Okay. Dimes is worth 10. Quarters is worth 25. And we have to equal 770 cents. I'm going to pause my video. I want you guys to work with your neighbors. Solve this one. Which one do you think you're going to use? Graphing, substitution, or elimination? Substitution. Awesome, because if I look for elimination, my x's, different coefficients. My y's, different coefficients. And this one's already set up for substitution. Good, I do appreciate how you guys are working. Doing a good job working with each other. So, to substitute, if x equals 4y, I would go into my second equation and say 10y plus 25 times 4y equals 770. You then have 10y plus 25 times 4 is 100y equals 770. Combine like terms, I'd have 110y equals 770. When you divide by 110, we get y equals 7. What's y equals 7? Tell me. Derek?
There are 7 y's.
And 7 y's, what's y stand up for?
Are dimes.
Dime, okay.
And I think I know how to solve it from here.
Okay, what would you do?
Well, it may not be what you're thinking, but it could be. But it's asking for 4 times as many quarters. So, in my mind, simply 7 times 4, and that equals 28.
That's exactly what we do.
Oh.
Take the y, substitute back into the equation. Y is 7. X equals 4 times 7, which is 28. Which would mean 28 quarters. That is our answer. That one actually wasn't as difficult, was it?
No.
It was easier when they had this part solved first. We'd have to do extra work. Okay. This one, it's a little tricky as well. I don't love the ones with money because they take a little longer. But I'm going to show, I already wrote this over so we won't forget. Apples and oranges. So we're going to be writing equations. Remember, everything for today, we're trying to write out, when we do not know 2 terms, we're trying to write 2 equations so we can solve them. Okay, this one says you need 5 pounds of fruit in order to make a fruit salad. And I'm going to be using apples and oranges. So what would be my first equation you think I could say? I'm going to go ahead and say apples are going to be x. And I'm going to make oranges my y. What would be my first equation? Very first one, Jordan. X plus y. When I took my apples and I take my oranges and I put them together, I have to have 5 pounds of fruit. We know that. Now let's look for our second equation. Apples are $1.88 a pound. Apples are $1.88. Oranges, $1.28 per pound. If you want to spend a total of $8.50. Now on this one, I'm going to leave the decimal just because I'm kind of unsure of myself. If I change my decimal there, do I have to change it for this 5 pounds? So because I'm going to use a calculator, I'm going to be okay with leaving the decimal on this first. what could be my equation? Aiden?
1.88x.
Good. So that's going to be my apples. Everyone needs to understand my apples are going to be $1.88 per pound. So 1.88x. $1.88 per apple. Okay? And I'm going to add that with, how can I write my orange? What is an orange right now? Donovan?
128y.
1.28y. And it has to equal, what does it have to equal? Sean? Huh? No, it doesn't have to equal 5. 850, good. Cost of apples, cost of oranges, total cost. Which method do you think you'd probably use? Substitution, good. Especially on this one, because my coefficients are decimals. I'm not going to try to times everything by 1.88 or 1.28. So substitution. Let's just help you with this first one. X plus y equals 5. Solve for x. X would equal what? How do I get x alone? Briggs? Nope. Are we multiplying x and y? No, we're adding the two. So how do I get rid of the y? Subtract it. So if I minus the y on each side, we get 5 minus y. I'm going to do this one with you just because it's the bigger decimal one. But, so for x, I'm going to say 5 minus y. So 1.88 times 5 minus y plus 1.28y equals 8.5 or 8.50. I'm just leaving the 0 off. I'm going to use a calculator. 1.88 times 5 is 9.4. And then I have minus 1.88y. Because 1.88 times negative y gives me this. 28y equals 8.5. We look for our like terms. And remember, this is a negative. So we would be like 1.88 to the negative 1.88 plus 1.28, 0.6 negative. So I'm going to say 9.4 minus 0.6y, 8.5. Where do I go from here?
You subtract the 9.4.
Good, we're going to have to subtract the 9.4. Negative 0.6y equals 8.5 minus 9.4, 0.9 to the negative. Okay? So now I have negative 0.6y equals negative 0.9. How do I get y alone? Divide by what? Negative 0.6. Negative 0.6. Y equals. So a negative divided by a negative is going to give me
Positive.
Alright, so I'm just going to type in positive numbers. 0.9 divided by 0.6 is 1.5. Now, y is representing how many pounds of fruit? Can I buy 1.5 pounds of fruit?
Yes.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
So y is oranges. So I'm going to say 1.5 pounds of oranges. And then to get to x, we just simply go back into our original equation. I'd say x plus 1.5 equals 5. We subtract 1.5, x equals 3.5. Once you get that first answer, the second answer always comes really quick. Okay? I feel for you guys on this. I know some of these are really boring and it takes a lot of time. We don't like doing all that work. We like getting our answers with 2-3 steps. We will have to take some time on this. That's why when we do your homework tonight, we're going to do another example. Your homework's only 4 questions.
What?
So it's not real long, but it's still going to take us some time. So, ooh, this one's I kind of like these. And these aren't with money, which makes it a little easier. So I like these. Let's see if you can figure this out. I'm even going to go, let's do this. I'll do some dumb suckers for this, because I know these are kind of difficult. Says, the sum. Sum means addition. So I know I'm going to be adding. The sum of a mother and a daughter's age is 74. Twice the daughter's age is 2 less than her mom's age. Find their ages. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say mom is X and the daughter was Y. So, for a sucker, can anyone identify what is the first equation we would write? A son. What would be my first equation? The mom plus the daughter equals 74. I'll grab it in just a second. The next one's the difficult one. Because if I read it, twice the daughter's age is 2 less than her mom's age. Twice the daughter's age is 2 less than her mom. It's a little confusing. Let's see if someone can nail it. Alexander? X equals 2y minus 2. Let's see if that's right. Here's how I would do this. Twice means what?
2.
Times by 2, right? So I'm going to say multiply 2. Daughter's age. So we're going to say daughter was what? Is means equals 2 less means minus, then means after. And mom's age is X. So I should have X, minus 2. So we're really close on this. It's not going to be X equals 2y minus 2.
X equals 2y plus 2.
Could say that, but you're going to be right, but for a different reason. We want to write the initial. The initial one, and this is why I'm showing this one. Everything I did, I'm going to write twice the daughter's age. So twice y. So 2 times y is. When you get is, you write your equals. Minus 2, then, when we solve then, that means it comes after this next part. Mom's age. That is going to be your equation. 2y, and you're going to say, okay, the daughter's age, if I double her age, it's going to equal her mom's age, but minus 2. So it's 2 less than that. We can't say 2y minus 2, because then we're really going to be even more short on this. Now, when I solve this one, to be honest, I'm stepping out my comfort zone. Which method am I going to use to solve this? Not graphing right away. Elimination. I use substitution. Usually I don't care how long the work takes me. I do that. This one, though, I see I have a 1 and a 1 in front of my x. Let's eliminate it. It becomes easy. The only thing I have to check is, are they in the same order?
No.
X, y equal constant. Y equals x constant. So I'm going to take this equation, and I'm just going to minus x on both sides. Then I'd have negative x plus 2y equals negative 2. Oh, now they're alike. Let's line them up. X plus y equals 74. Negative x plus 2y equals negative 2. Now, since my x's are opposites, should I add or subtract the two equations?
Add.
Good, let's add them. And x minus x.
X. 0.
Nothing. Y plus 2y. 74 plus negative 2. So 74 minus 2 is?
72.
72. I thought it was 27. 72. Good. Divide by 3. Y equals? Good. Who's y?
The daughter.
So we're saying the daughter equals 24. Ooh, that's kind of crazy because usually they give these problems the daughter's like 4. And they're like, oh, it's cute. So right now we're saying the daughter's 24. So now I can take this 24 and go to the easy equation. X plus 24. Going back to this very first equation, y was 24, is 74. Minus 24 x is 50. You have to be careful what you say. Okay? Now, so if we look at this, let's see if we did this right. The mom and daughter, if they're 24 and 50, if I add their ages, 24 plus 50 is
74.
74. Twice the daughter's age, 24 times 2 is 48. Is 2 less than, is 48 2 less than her mom's age?
Yes.
If mom's 50, 2 less than 50 is
50
48.
minus 2 is 48.
Alright, we are not going to do the very last one. Your homework. Pay attention to this part though. Look it up here. On a clean piece of paper. You do not have enough room to do it on this worksheet. It'll become way too messy. Remember, I have to see your work on this assignment. There's no way we're doing this in our head. You can look back at our examples. There's no way I did any of this in our head. So, you have 4 problems to work on. That's all we're doing for homework.
Thank you.
Okay?